Listening is our access to understanding. Conscious listening always creates understanding. And only without conscious listening can these things happen. A world where we don't listen to each other at all is a very scary place. In space and in time to the physical world around us, connected in understanding. Every human being needs to listen consciously in order to live fully.
Nggak bisa. Yeah, as we know, okay. As we know, diabetes mellitus type 2 is growing global crisis. With the cases, 129 million adults had diabetes in 2021 and surpassed exceed to 1.39 billion in 2050. And that poor glycemic control has serious consequence because it increase comorbidity like cardiovascular and can decrease quality of life. And mobile health apps may help that support such as self-management through glucose tracking, medication reminder, but current evidence is inconsistent because the effectiveness of the mobile application on glycemic control, especially in HbA1c, and it's the one we want to assess the effectiveness of mobile application. Yeah, this is our method. It's a 4 process. One is search literature strategy with a Prisma guideline with 3 database, PubMed, Scopus, and ProQuest with the criteria inclusion with RCT design, study design, and the outcome with the PICO framework that we know in here, and the risk of bias to conduct the quality assessment, and meta-analysis not feasible due to heterogeneity because, any have a reason. Next.
Okay, from 1,444 studies, with screening that we have 8 RCT, that 5 out of 8 studies show that significant and glycemic reduction. So that 3 show no effect. The quality of life, limited evidence because of just one study that showed significant. Overall, mobile apps may improve glycemic control, but findings are inconsistent because of its heterogeneity. We can see there's just one significantly in quality of life, and then the conclusion. The conclusion is overall mobile health apps potential to support type 2DM with self-management, but stronger in long-term evidence. Thank you.
Okay, first I want to ask something. Are you sure that there isn't any research like yours? Because, and if you are sure that there is no any research like yours, how do you know it? And is there any protocol that you did before?
Okay, before we start make a systematic review, we must to fulfill a protocol in Prospero, and I fulfill it, but not for publish. And yeah, for the research, it's continuing for publish in Prospero.
Okay, so how the result of the Prospero?
It's for I fulfill Prospero just for learning, and yes, accepted, but not for publish. For publish, we need to fulfill again.
Okay, so it accepted for from the Prospero.
Yeah, with
Okay,
an ID.
when it accepted?
I conduct to screening my our systematic review in October and have a ID for learning in December 2025.
Okay, so for the next question about the risk of bias, I'm not sure that it wouldn't continue to the meta-analysis because your database only use 3 database. Like you already knew that you want to RCD, right? But you didn't include the Cochrane library. Why you didn't include Cochrane library or Science Direct or Embrace or Gray Literature or any additional record like repository?
Okay, why we are choose 3 database because the keywords for the topic it's a very close, and we just search in another database, and for the specific to have a lot of query is in the 3 database, and ProQuest is Gray Literature too.
But you only have 8 research, right? And you say that it's moderate most of the risk of bias, isn't it? So why don't you choose GBI risk of bias instead of ROB2 Cochrane, which is the gold standard of the assess risk of bias by RCD?
Okay, I want to answer why not using a Cochrane critical appraisal or something like ROB and so on, because the question in Cochrane, such as in Cochrane, if you not fulfill one, it's just high risk. If I choose this critical appraisal, I have not included research in our systematic review.
Oh, if you can do the ROB Cochrane, the ROB Cochrane is the gold standard. How can be sure that your research can be published? Because yeah, your output, one of your output about the publishing, right? So how can be sure that your research will be publishing?
Okay, maybe GBI it's accepted, yeah, it's accepted in the publish not just Cochrane, and to sure our research is good because we fulfill a lot all the question in the GBI critical appraisal for the quality assessment.
And then from your study, we can see at glimpse that the data is like from high, not from LMIC, or yeah, it's from developed countries. So how do you represent it as in your study? Like, yeah.
Okay, because the setting in global that's represent our study in low and middle country, it's to mass adaptation in local context, because such as in Indonesia like that, we have reduction.
Adaptation. We should make adaptation with social culture in Indonesia too. Like internet.
How sure you can implement this in Indonesia?
Like you know that the health promotion has 4 pillars. Which one of your research would be the one?
It will be I think it's be a rehabilitative aspect for helping the type 2 DM patient to improve their quality of life, I think.
Okay, how specifically you can describe the mobile app could actually affect the what kind of mechanism?
Okay, based on the future of the mobile app, yeah, in the future have a control of glycemic control in every weeks is some for each apps in the article in included our study, or maybe
Every each application have different feature. Yeah, have many feature that they can help remind to how much we can eat. Reminding to drink pills and etc. etc. like that.
How you confident?
Okay. Okay. Hello everyone. This is the subtype specific assay space signature asteroid gaps in infertility of ovarian cancer. This is the present. Okay. Ovarian cancer, the silent killer. Most of the ovarian cancer is epithelial type and among postmenopausal women. So, is it correlated with the age? Yeah, let we know it. So, there's a two type of ovarian cancer like HZSC, CCC, MC, and AC. Aduh. Okay, let's talk about the senescent cells. Senescent cells, which can produce SEAP. SEAP contains chemokines, peripheral inflammation, and etc. So it can modify and attack the microenvironment. So I would like to highlight the data that we use is a subtype stage 3. And we input the data from the database. This is our flow. Okay, so we would like to analyze and visualize it.
Okay, so this is the first. This is the sparse PCA. This represent that the bigger circle is from the older group, and this one is from the younger. They're overlapping, but they're having different their different pattern. Like this is broader, the older one, and this is also means that the older group actually have this more variation in protein secretion according to the SAS, and it's validated through the eigenvalue that it's meaningful. And this is also the MCA that shows the overlapping as well. and this is for the volcano map. So we found that we discovered that other protein related to the SAS that is also significantly upregulated or downregulated. It's from the circle, and this is, we later see from the heat map for better visualization in from certain age and subtypes. This is from the young one, and this is for the old one. We can see that there's a area, there's an upregulation, and this is where, this is means that it is not as strong as the expression of the older group. Okay, so from the conclusions that there are several protein patterns that is significantly there in certain age group, and this is discovered means that they're having. So the overlapping itself, which means that they're having similar features in certain overlap area.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
And then I question of the charge for social statistical
With the same question or? Okay. In the same question. Okay, I changed my question. Okay, what are the potential missed opportunity in your study for identify actionable therapeutic targets? Your therapeutic targets in the research. Miss opportunity.
Okay. So I think it's because the sample that we use is not in a very large one, because it's better if it's done in a larger sample size, which is more representable. But we also try to use the most homogeneous way to actually represent the result, like from only the stage 3 and has this till we get the secondary, it's different, right? So yeah, I think it's the missed opportunity. Maybe we can actually communicate the primary to the secondary data better if we conduct it from the beginning, from the sample collection.
Okay, next question. Okay. Your mention in the poster is the first characterization of subtype specific SASP signature. Yeah, it's little. We are means a little bit overclaim because it's first characterization. Yeah, have you any previous study? Is like if your novelty you claim a first characterization integrate in secondary data you use.
Yes, because no literature has done the SAS characterization or profiling across the AOC subtypes, and especially according to the age group. There's no age group differentiation, because we actually made the younger one versus the older one, and then we also use the transcriptomic and proteomic integration, which is actually there's no literature that has done that.
I would like to add some answer. So yeah, there is a research about the relation between AOC and the SAS, but there is no research that correlate with the age group. So that's our novelty. And the age group, sometimes people say that, oh, it's effect, but don't have any proof of other research. So our novelty is correlate with age group. We want to prove it. And also the transcriptomic and the proteomic sites.
Okay, if your variable age is not major factor, why is it still commonly considered in your cancer studies, in your cancer research?
Okay, so for the posters, it says that the age is not correlated. Actually, it's because we use the SAS signatures from the literature, St. Mayo, and study of aged ovary and SASP, and so it is not represent all of the SAS-related proteins, but instead, in this study, we actually discover proteins that is not mentioned at the literature, and also it is related to the SAS, aging. Yeah.
Okay. Your data is from public data, yeah, and more potential to get a bias such as batch effect, method variation, of have you controlling in your variable such as in your analysis?
Yes, we have we have analyzed and normalized it with Lima.
Okay, what is your variable? Your in such as we are know that's multivariable. You must to control a third variable, yeah. And in what you analyze your third variable to prevent the potential bias.
Lima itself is designed for a smaller size of sample. So, yeah, we make sure that we use it, and also we normalize it and then transform it into the log to FC and into the PCA and volcanoplot.
Yeah, Lima is specific for protein, so we use that to normalize and analyze it.
Okay. Did you control for menopausal status too?
Since this is more to be the age group, we didn't exclude the premenopause because it's related to the age group. Yes. So like maybe there's 2 samples that actually from the premenopausal women. Yes.
Okay. Did you perform any sensitivity or robustness analysis to ensure that your PCA, heat map, and GSA results are stable and not dependent on specific parameters and data pre-processing step?
For the PCA itself, we do eigenvalue, which is actually validate the result of the PCA that there's overlapping that we want to know is it significant or not, and the value state that it is significant.
Thank you.
Yeah, so in this case, I think both presented very well. This is actually, I think, from a questioning point of view, Group 81 is the better question because at least they discussed more about potential results and the methods for Group 17 asked questions that are repetitive in some aspects. I saw here about the previous study, how to prove it, and all that stuff. And unfortunately, it was repeated several things. But that opportunity was not answered very well by Group 81 because then you repeated the same answers also. I think if you could have expanded your answer to try to explain the same thing but a different way, because that is usually the issue when we're explaining science. Most of the time, the people that we're discussing with, sometimes they need to try to understand it from different perspectives. So that would be a suggestion. I think that's it. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Can I try it first? Oh, it's using the PDF, yeah. Oh, okay.
Coba dulu.
Nah,
Coba.
nggak bisa. Nggak bisa.
No, no. Bottom. Bottom
Iya,
pen.
nggak bisa. Nggak bisa. Oh, oke.
Kalau tek, pakai.
Loh, kok gelap?
Oh.
Oh, oke. Oke. Okay, we are from Team 51. This is our research, which is metagenomic profiling and bioperspective of microbial protease and lipase from fish processing wastewater. Okay, so fish processing wastewater is kind of like a gold mine for enzyme with high activity. Imagine it like a cave of wonders filled with magic and gold. So these fish processing wastewater are enriched with protein and lipid substrates that could support microbial life to thrive. These bacteria could produce some enzyme that help them to thrive. And in this case, it's protease and lipase because their substrate is rich with protein and lipid. Those enzymes is both useful for them, but also have various application in both industrial and biomedical purpose. So our approach is using both culture-based method and the non-culture-based method. With culture-based method, we managed to isolate 6 strains of proteolytic and lipolytic bacteria from fish processing wastewater in Lamongan, and some of them shows activity above 2, which is considered high, but our hero here is Proteus TB that have very high enzymatic activity and kind of like steal the spotlight. So we use further analysis using whole genome sequencing to unleash their genetic makeup and sort of to see what kind of gene that most probably play a part in the production of the protease and lipase, especially in the extracellular enzyme secretion. And in this case, it's ceralisin metalloprotease and phospholipase A.
from the non-culture based method itself, we know the community of bacteria from the samples. We also knew that those isolated strains, 6 isolated strains, are part of the gamma proteobacteria class, and Proteus GB itself is accounted of 0.09% from total metabarcoding data. But yeah, just as much as we like that our hero to thrive, we can't forget its dark side, right? And in this case, it's being Proteus GB opportunistic pathogenic nature. So in order to mass producing a safely and sustainably enzyme, in future work, we will focusing on designing a recombinant factor for expression in grass species, so we can safely and sustainably mass producing the enzyme for the both industrial and the biomedical purposes. I think that's all from us. Thank you.
Okay, wastewater ecosystem are highly dynamic and lack an ecological consistency. So, why do you choose the fish processing wastewater? And if the microbial changes over time, how can this be considered a reliable and sustainable process?
Okay, thank you. So why we would choose the wastewater from the fish processing industry? Because actually we target the microbes or bacteria that produce lipase and protease enzyme. So we choose the one with the substrate for the microbial that has the enzyme, which is the fish processing industry, which is rich in protein and lipid, as in the fish. So about the dynamic, because we want to catch the one that can produce good protease and lipase, I think in this case we don't really care about the dynamic, as long as we get the one that can produce protease and lipase.
Okay, and then can you demonstrate that the same wastewater source will yield similar enzyme activity across of time and different location?
Okay. Actually, in that case, we don't care, because we just want to catch at the time the one with the good enzyme activity. Yeah, we can do in another wastewater processing plant or another time when the batch of fish is higher. Yeah, we can get better, but for now what we got is good enough, because the index activity was more than 7 is actually like excellent. It's very good enzyme.
Okay, so for your suggestion, it may be good, become a really good suggestion if we kind of expand the study into more a comparative study. But right now, our study is more focused into explorative, so we kind of want to explore this really top niche that people really use to explore. So yeah, our focus is still in that, but maybe in the future we can do that work also.
So what is the implication of the study, or it is just to explore alone, or another implication?
Actually, it's not explore. We want to isolate the bacteria with the good enzyme activity, and we got the one with excellent enzyme activity. So that's the purpose of this study.
But for your presentation, you said that this is implication for the industry. Yeah, the
Yeah.
enzyme. Are you think that is overclaim or something?
No.
Because you just
We
catch
just
the
say that
enzyme.
this is the one is in the for future application in the industry. We never claim this is the best for industry. We got the one is promising for industry for the future application, but we need to further study to express it in the more safe host and everything. So it's still far for the industrial application, and we don't claim that.
But also, one of the biggest problem in the industrial enzyme itself is about specialty. So we already have many enzymes, but most of these enzymes didn't have really specificity that maybe specific industry use. So this kind of explorative study is sort of like help us to find this unique and this novel enzyme that could probably fill those niche in the industrial enzyme.
For the selection bias isolated, maybe introduce the selection bias. How do you justify the representative of, or do you have the comparable any bacteria or something?
Okay, so for the selection bias, actually we don't have in here we don't have selection bias because we isolate the bacteria and then you see the one with the clean zone around the bacteria. We select it based on how big is the clear zone. So we measure the enzymatic activity. We compare that with the colony size. So I think the bigger is better. So in that case, and then it's you see it's the difference is good. But yeah, I agree with you. We need to do the statistical whether that the 7.1 with the enzymatic index is the best. But actually, it's obvious. Yeah, I agree with you. For more scientific, we need to do that some statistical thing. Yeah.
Yeah. From your presentation, you say that the activity of enzyme is different from wastewater, but can you just choose the another form fat, like this is more stable environment for activate enzyme because lipid, yeah, because you discovering the lipid lipase, yeah, you can use another fat or something.
Oh, okay. So yeah, we can actually this is the fish processing industry. We can use the chicken or beef processing industry as long as it contain lipid and protein. We can get the one like this with the high protease and high lipase activity. We don't claim this environment is the best, but yeah, we can isolate from another environment with high lipid and protein.
Why you consider the different environment can produce also that enzyme activity?
Okay, so when bacteria produce protease and lipase, meaning that they need to eat lipid and protein. So as long in the environment contain protein and lipid, we can get that kind of bacteria.
With the different location?
Yeah, with the different location.
So in different location, as long as they contain those similar substrates, we can isolate the both bacteria with protease and lipase activity. But in this case, they maybe have different type of bacteria because not every bacteria have their specific requirements. So in this case, maybe we got bacteria that could survive more salinity and etc. because they came from the fish and they came from the sea, right? But maybe from the beef or the other substrate with high protein and lipid, they contain bacteria with other ability.
Okay, good morning everyone. Today I'm gonna present about our study in complementary feeding practice and composite anthropometric failure among children aged 6 to 23 months in Central Java using evidence from the 2024 Indonesia Nutritional Survey. Okay. Our study is grounded in UNICEF conceptual framework for undernutrition. This is immediate cause like inadequate dietary quality and inadequate dietary quantity can cause the undernutrition. So we use the complementary feeding like minimum acceptable diet that can measure both dietary diversity like quantity and quality by meal frequency to see the anthropometric failure behind children, and we use composite index of anthropometric failure. Yeah, in our study, we use a cross-sectional study design. We got 5,767 children that eligible in our study. So the main exposure to our study is complementary feeding in minimum acceptable diet that outcome in anthropometric failure by using composite index of anthropometric failure. In statistical analysis, we analyze the description and the multivariable logistic regression, adjusting for socio-demographic and spread models to address overlap behind the exposure and the outcome.
Yes, this is the result of our study that MAD remains suboptimal, especially in the young children. And as we saw that only 34.35% of children aged 6 to 9 months meet the MAD, with the majority is 65%, not meeting the minimum acceptable diet. And the overall of anthropometric failure is more common in the older children, that indicating a higher burden of undernutrition is in older age group. And then this is a multivariable logistic regression result that MAD is significantly associated with lower odds of undernutrition, with AOR is 0.85, and the age significantly associated with lower odds, and the birth order also significantly associated with lower odds, and the wealth index also significantly associated with higher odds, middle and rich. And then the maternal education and the social protection, or PKH, didn't have the significantly associated after the adjustment. So this is out of our study. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you for the insightful presentation. So, in your study, only SSGI database can be used in Indonesia. I mean, like, is there any another survey that can support your data?
This study is also is just use the SSGI, or Indonesian Nutritional Status Survey, and then it just data from that survey. Because if we choose with another survey, it has a different statistical or sampling method, so we can just use the SSGI.
Okay, so this is a national survey, right?
Right.
But why in particular you choose Central Java?
Yeah, the Central Java is has a heterogeneity like Indonesia. Also, the disparity or heterogeneity of socio-demographic and also economic status, like that.
I think more province has that kind of, like Jakarta or
No.
Jawa Timur, no?
No, Central Java is more have a heterogeneity as
Stagnant prevalence. So the Central Java is have stagnant prevalence by this by year. In 2034, the prevalence of stunting is still stagnant in Central Java.
Oh, I think that's not about the stunting. That's about the socioeconomic you explained before.
Undernutrition,
yeah.
So I think it didn't answer my question. I mean, like, you guys have a different
Oh no,
reason.
because in socio-demographic, the Central Java is likely more namanya sama-sama ini loh.
have the same of prevalence, apa sih, prevalence bukan terkait prevalence situation, and then the Central Java also have the heterogen of the socio-demographic and economic situation.
Okay,
like that.
so it's about stunting. I believe you because it's your field. But yeah, okay.
Okay. I want to dwell a bit about your previous answer. You said they have the same prevalence. I mean, the same prevalence compared to what? In your previous explanation, they have the same prevalence in compare of what? And then you said they have this heterogeneity, but I didn't see that you try to compare their heterogeneity with other city or other area in Indonesia. So what kind of data that could support your assumption?
Oh yeah, the trends of the stunting, wasting, and undernutrition prevalence compared with Indonesian. Because you asked about why we choose the Central Java, not choose the Indonesia, right?
Oh, okay.
And then the heterogeneity of the socio-demographic, it almost represent the Indonesian situation.
So you assume that using data only from Central Java is enough to represent the whole?
No. But
so it doesn't.
we didn't test the the comparability to generalize as the Indonesian situation.
Okay, because you said it's represent, right? So maybe
other question from me is about why the observation is because you're using secondary data, right? So, is there any explanation why the data is only showing a survey? I think it's only for the previous 24 hours because I think that could introduce another bias because if we call it now, it's like a GTM. So GTM is like a phase where child don't want to eat, and in that kind of phase, no matter how the usual diets, they usually don't want to eat that much. So is it enough to represent their whole diets?
Yes, the gold standard to assess the dietary intake is another procedure, but this is a survey, like large survey. So the survey is just to use to the recall, and the recall can memang have the recall bias, something like you say before, and then
but we use MID like to define the quantity and quality from dietary. This is a gold standard for that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So maybe you can also include that as the bias of this study because only 24 hours, I think it's not enough to represent their whole diet. Okay. Another question is, you mentioned that from the data that the no failure category is kind of like decrease as they age, right? So, is there any possible explanation? Because as we all know that usually, as they grow, children becomes more acceptable with various dietary. Is there any explanation for that?
yeah, this is the highlight is our study of with the older age or 9 to 23 months is still need to more attention, especially in the feeding practice.
Okay, you said that's not kind of answering my question because I think I asked about possible explanation because yeah, you mentioned that they need more intervention, they need more consideration, etc. But is there any possible explanation why in those age their consumption seems to be less variable?
Just short comment. Thank you, guys. It was great debate. I think you guys. I don't know if you have improved. I didn't know where you started, but it was really great. I saw your answers and the way you ask questions, you build up. It's not only about forming things, but also you show that you understand things and you challenge the other thoughts for the opposing things. However, I think it's going to be great if you could, how could I say, you said we don't care like 2 or 3 times. Yeah, I don't think that's
Yeah.
great
I know.
idea to say that. Well, there are a lot of ways to say that, but actually the meaning might still the same. Yeah, but we can tell the argument behind it. It might be beyond your scope or things like that. And actually, exploratory research is also great, right? It could be like a base or something bigger might be done in the next future. And it seems like you were kind of intimidated or something.
Ada rasa.
Well, you guys are great questioner, attackers. You show that you have certain understanding, and that's really great. You might be
More
it is a start.
confident, yeah.
There are a lot of rooms to improve, and congratulations. Really great to have you here.
Right after this one. Okay. 15 to 20 minutes break.
We can still have another match.
Makasih Bu. We still need to wait the winner of the other group because it's all connected in the rundown.
Wait,
Yeah.
so we are left with what? One more?
Two more.
Oh, two more.
Yes, but you'll finish together. You and the next room, yeah.
Wait, but the last match?
The last match everyone watch in the Krakatau.
Oh.
Because like it's the final, the winner, the Terminator.
Actually, for the last match, if judges are here, having more judges is actually a good idea. We don't need to split for the 3 judges.
This one, you mean?
Or the grand judges. And it sort of dilute the judges' voices. So if someone is rejected, from more judges. I know you were trying to say that Central Java is not improving, but the way you explained it got lost in the communication. Yeah,
Kalau debatnya bahasa Indonesia mungkin nggak tertantang ya sih, karena nih bahasa Inggris jadi
Iya. Kebanyakan tim kayak gitu kan
Iya.
bisa menyampaikan dalam bahasa Indonesia, cuma
Iya.
tidak bisa menyampaikan dalam bahasa
Iya,
Inggris.
benar.
Banyak yang kalah.
Iya.
But I'm not sure it's going to be helping, but I think thinking in English right away it's going to be I don't know, efficient maybe.
Iya.
advantageous, advantage.
Kalau mikirnya dalam bahasa Indonesia baru diterjemahin itu kerjanya 2 kali karena kita harus mikir jawabannya apa terus mikir ini terjemahan.
Grammar structure-nya juga beda.
Jadi sekalian aja bahasa Inggris. But it takes a lot of practice.
Iya.
Yep. Dan menyesuaikan diri sama
Iya.
you guys the only 2 people who are really in charge in this research, right? So tidak ada yang lebih ngerti daripada yang berdua.
Iya.
Good morning, everyone. Today we're gonna presentation about our study in complementary feeding practices and composite anthropometric failure among children aged 6 to 23 months in Central Java using evidence from the 2024 Indonesia Nutritional Survey. Okay. First of all, we using a UNICEF conceptual framework of undernutrition, which is immediate causes because of undernutrition is inadequate dietary quality and inadequate dietary quantity, and we use complementary feeding minimum acceptable diet that measures both dietary diversity by quality and meal frequency in quantity. That reflects adequacy of complementary feeding practice. We capture the anthropometric failure in composite index of anthropometric failure or CIAF to identify children with one or more growth failure in stunting, wasting, or underweight, or the combination. Yeah. Our study is basically a cross-sectional study. We use data 2024 Indonesian Nutritional Status Survey (SSGI). In population, the eligible participant is 5,767. The first exposure is complementary feeding by using minimum acceptable diet, and the outcome is anthropometric failure using composite index of anthropometric failure. In statistical analysis, we describe the analysis by the subject by their characteristic. And multivariable logistic regression, we adjust for socio-demographic factors and spread model with be specified and address overlapping feeding indicators.
Okay, so next. This is the result of our study that MAD remains suboptimal, especially in younger children, aged 6 to 9 months. Only 34% of children met the MAD, with the majority not meeting the minimum acceptable diet. And then the overall of anthropometric failure is more common in all children. This is the result of the logistic regression that MAD has a significant associated with lower odds of undernutrition, and then the age and birth order and wealth index is also significantly associated with higher odds ratio. And then the maternal education and social protection like PKH have not significantly associated with CIAF after adjustment. So that's all.
Thank you for the Thank you for the presentation. In the method, you say that you analyze based on the SSGI. It is a nationwide data, but you only analyze Central Java instead of nationwide study you can conduct. Why?
Actually, we use Central Java because of the condition of socio-demographic is basically likely a population in Indonesia because their complexity in socio-demographic. And also in a prevalence of Central Java have a stagnant prevalence in undernutrition. So we use to using data from the Central Java only.
Okay, thank you. But I think the explanation isn't strong enough because again you can conduct a nationwide study and also comparison with other region with higher burden of stunting. That could be a stronger rational, stronger background to analyze this study. We still haven't get enough picture about why Central Java. If you say that Central Java similar to characteristic of Indonesia in general. Central Java is different with with Nusa Tenggara and Papua.
Maybe also because the availability of the data that we have, we just have the Central Java.
Okay, following up on the availability of the data and what he mentioned before, have similar studies been done? If yes, this is not novel because a new location doesn't mean that it's new science, especially your new conclusion is just feeding practices matter, and we all already know that.
There is also a similar study before, but use another survey like IDHS, Indonesian Demographic Health Survey.
So following up on that, what's the novelty of your study? I don't think you answered my previous question.
The novelty of our study, we use the composite anthropometric index that previously didn't use the previous.
So following up on the composite CIAF, did you lose actionable insights by combining them? Does that mask important differences between stunting or wasting? Why did you combine them? Why? Because we lose insights from that, right?
Because if we use the single indicators, it's sparingly, but then when we use the CIAF, this is overlap to overlap, and then the to minimize the underestimate of the calculation of the form of the undernutrition.
Indicators like stunting and wasting and underweight, sometimes it disparities about the combination about the undernutrition. So we use the composite index to not underestimate their condition.
Okay, so moving on to you mentioned one of the conclusions is that firstborn will benefit from more focused interventions. So why is that so? Is that new insight, or and then you also mentioned that maternal education is not associated. This is not like according to what we know about maternal education and nutrition.
Maybe we updated the statistical analysis. And then the maternal firstborn is reflecting the maternal parenting, that parents that give the feeding practice more better for the first birth.
So how do you explain the maternal education not being associated, because that is not aligned with the current literature? So what about your confounders? Maybe did you take into account for that? Maybe that might affect the maternal education. And did you do any sensitivity analysis for this?
Actually, the maternal education is not statistical significant because there's just education in formal way, not in specifically in knowledge about nutrition.
So if you mentioned that specifically no knowledge about nutrition, so how are your results valid then? Because you meant like maternal education, the one that has is formal education, right? So how would you measure the informal one about nutrition, as you mentioned before?
Maybe the level of the education can determine the food choice or the feeding practice, but the maternal education, we didn't assess the maternal education associated with nutritional education like that.
Okay, so following up on that, if you mentioned that it can affect feeding practices, but the result is that it's not associated, so it doesn't really explain, you kind of contradict yourself there?
Because the nutritional education is directly affect the feeding practice, but the maternal education didn't direct affect the feeding practice.
Hello everyone, I am Nico and I'm with Gabriela, my team here. We haven't talked much enough about the most dominant burden of disease in Indonesia and Jakarta, and it is stroke or cerebrovascular disease. The study aims to examine the mortality trends associated with cerebrovascular disease in Jakarta across the span of 8 years, 2016, 2023, and further discuss the policy implication. We conducted serial cross-sectional study across 8 years, 2016 2023, and using that data registry of DKI Jakarta Health Office, we conducted descriptive analysis and also mortality rates analysis. First, regarding age group, we found that the median age of the recorded mortality case was 63 years old, younger than several countries and global cities, for example, Japan, 73 years old. And regarding the age group, the leading age group was 60 to 69 years old, accounting to 29% of the recorded cases, followed by 50 to 59 years old, which was product type age. These findings highlight the importance of preventive actions and comprehensive management related to cerebrovascular disease. And also, regarding the diagnosis group and death hour, we discovered that there are many I-60 for stroke unspecified coded, especially during peak during off hours, which could indicate a lack of diagnostic and management capability in Jakarta healthcare facilities, especially during midnight until early morning time. We also conducted special pattern mapping of cerebrovascular deaths. We discovered that across the span of 8 years, the highest number of deaths was in East Jakarta, accounting to 27% of the recorded cases. But when we take into account the population number of each region, it is discovered that the highest crude mortality rates was in Central Jakarta. The whole Jakarta itself, across the span of 8 years, reached almost 2-folds of increase in recruit mortality rates, and the most remarkable increase across the span of 8 years was in Seribu Island Regency, 14-folds of increase, which indicate inequity between the metropolitan part of Jakarta and the rural island part of Jakarta. When we take into account the age, standardized mortality rates, and also considering that 2020 we faced the COVID-19 pandemic in our health system, we discovered that we conducted segmented aggregation and found that beyond 2020 there was steeper and statistically significant change in slope, which could be caused by the COVID-19, both the disease and the strain to the health system. We concluded that cerebrovascular mortality in Jakarta rose markedly across the span of 8 years, and it is imperative for Jakarta to improve comprehensive cerebrovascular disease management from the pragmatic preventive approach, 24/7 stop service readiness, and improve also the surveillance to inform evidence-based policy intervention. Thank you very much. We acknowledge our collaborators and funders. ACFES. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your. Okay, thank you for your comprehensive presentation. I would like to know about your adjust for the weighting in population, because this study is basically from the population survey. So, what did you adjust the weighting pembobotan? Yeah, in your data. Yeah, in your data and your analysis.
Okay, thank you. We know that stroke or cerebrovascular disease mostly affect the older age group, and therefore we conducted analysis of age-standardized mortality. When we take into account the age distribution in the methods, we also use the WHO standardized age methods for the ASMR. Therefore, we take into account the age distribution. Unfortunately, the Jakarta Provincial Office and the BPS didn't have data age group distribution for each region, so we couldn't conduct analysis until the regional or district level. But the ASMR of the whole Jakarta exhibits similar graphical pattern compared to cerebrovascular mortality, and also actual number of deaths.
Is there any missing data, and how do you manage the missing data?
Okay, thank you. Of course, we conduct after we got the data set, we conduct first data cleaning first. Among our exclusion criteria is missing data. For example, there are several even several input that doesn't have primary or secondary diagnosis. That is among our criteria of exclusion. Besides, of course, the main criteria exclusion is the recorded case doesn't contain the code or related to cerebral vascular disease or I6. Yeah. But I think the form, the data registry form by the Jakarta to be inputted by the healthcare officials oblique the feeling the feeling of the contents. So we discover not really much of missing data. For example, especially in the basic demographic data of age, death, and the origin or the location of the death.
So there are increasing rates of the cases after 2020. Yeah. How do you square it with the impact of the pandemic COVID?
Oh, we didn't spare the impact, but we explain it related to the COVID-19. Yeah, in the disease, by the disease itself, COVID-19 increased the hypercoagulability, which could increase the risk of stroke. It's the impact of the COVID to the stroke, and the impact to the stroke to the COVID stroke paralyzed patient also more prone to the infection or lung infection, COVID infection. That's among the disease. To the health system, we know that the health system, the health service facilities focus more on COVID-19. Also, paralyzed patient again tend not to come of stroke tend not to come to healthcare facilities, and therefore it could also impact the health system strain, health system stretch due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Okay, Bayer study. What the implication for maybe for the government in future policy that can use by using your study?
Okay, yeah, thank you. We have mentioned several policy implication, but we should be careful because analysis of mortality trend, mortality data does not imply implications directly. But we decided, from the first of the aim of the study is to also discuss the policy implication. Therefore, in the full manuscript, we discuss the policy implication. Among them is to strengthen 24/7 stroke readiness management, because we know that I60 for the stroke unspecified peak during off hours, because what? So the CT scan is not ready during midnight. The many management facilities not less ready during midnight. The consultants not ready. So yes, one of the important thing is to improve 24/7 comprehensive stroke management readiness in Jakarta. But of course, further study to link between the readiness and the mortality rate is needed to discover whether there is direct link.
And did you consider the pre-hospital management or emergency care that maybe it can affect your mortality rate?
Yes, thank you. I will raise interesting case in Kepulauan Seribu. We have mortality data from 2016, but they only have the ambulance, both ambulance since only 2022, 2023. And in the islands, they don't have CT scan facilities because the salt will make corrosive effect to the CT scan. But interestingly, in 2023, there is a big increase in the CMR in the Kepulauan Seribu Island. That could be caused by improved diagnosis, but that's to highlight the gap between the pre-hospital management between the rural part of Jakarta and metropolitan area here in Jakarta Pusat.
Seru-seru.
No.
We didn't discuss this before.
No, we haven't learned enough about,
About
their
their
study
professor,
because we just finished. Yeah.
Yeah, same.
So
Ya, tapi ya, karena lebih rigid banget itunya ya datanya. Sama-sama Allah data sebenarnya. Yep. Mm. Yeah. Yep, yep.
mau berenang sebelum check out. Iya. Goodness.
Between what teams?
Oh no.
Oh.
Tapi emang iya, akhir-akhir turnamen emang bakal pada nungguin match.
Do you know what teams are we waiting for? The team number?
Atau yang menang dari tim dari match
I mean the one before yang masih berjalan.
Kayaknya perlu kita lihat sendiri.
belum mulai mungkin ya.
Belum mulai.
Iya, belum mulai.
Belum mulai.
Jadi kalian nunggu yang ini nih, match 40, jadi D5.
Oh, D5 sama
atau pemenang dari match 38 ini.
Jadi
antara 17, 15.
Kami mana sih sekarang? Jadi 37 ya.
Jadi lawan kalian antara lihat 17, 15 sama.
Sorry.
Aku jadi kepo sama yang itu dari bikin spasi.
Kita di mana sekarang?
Oh, kayak atas.
Match 39, W39.
Tapi kalian gitu loh yang ini kan.
Kapan pulang? Sore. Sore ini? Pesawat atau kereta? Renang. Pesawat. Oh, Halim atau Soekarno Hatta. Oh, iya. Besok jaga? Belum ya, belum jaga ya. Belum jaga. Angka. Benang. Oh, ya. Tes. Thank you. I'm Nico and I'm with Gabriela, my teammate here. We haven't talked enough about the major disease burden in Indonesia and especially in its biggest city, Jakarta. And it is the cerebrovascular disease or stroke. This study aimed to examine mortality trends associated with cerebrovascular disease in Jakarta across the span of 8 years and discuss the policy implication. We conducted serial cross-sectional study across the span of 8 years from 2016 to 2023 using data registry of DKI Jakarta, and we conducted descriptive analysis and also mortality rate analysis. First, regarding the age group, we found that the median age of age is 63 years old, younger than many other cities and countries globally. For example, Japan, 73 years old. And regarding the age group, it was found that the 60 to 69 years old leading the majority of the case, 29%, and further followed by 50 to 59 years old, which is considered as productive age. This finding warrants the importance of prevention and also comprehensive management of stroke or cerebrovascular disease. Regarding the diagnosis group and death hour, we discovered that I60 for stroke unspecified got quite much and especially peak during off hours from midnight to early morning. This indicates lack of diagnostic and management capability during the hours. And then, next slide, please. And then regarding we also conducted next slide, please. Special analysis. We discovered that East Jakarta, if considered based on observed number actual death of cerebrovascular mortality, the highest cases was in East Jakarta, 27% of the cases. But we take into account into the crude mortality rates, it was found that the highest CMR, especially in 2023, was in Central Jakarta. The whole Jakarta itself, across the span of 8 years, observed almost 2-fold of increase in CMR and the most remarkable increase in Seribu Island urgency, 14-fold increase, which could indicate inequity in access to comprehensive cerebrovascular care between the rural part and metropolitan part of Jakarta. Next slide. When we take into account the age group difference using the age-standardized mortality rates, we found that also we conducted segmented regression to discover the effect of COVID-19. It was found that beyond 2023, there was steeper and statistically significant rise, which indicate the effect of COVID-19 both as the disease as and to the strain of the health system. We concluded cerebrovascular mortality rose markedly across the span of 8 years in Jakarta, and it is imperative for Jakarta to improve comprehensive cerebrovascular disease management from promotive approach, 24/7 service readiness, and surveillance also. Thank you very much. We acknowledge our collaborator.
Okay, thank you. I want ask a question. What did you use compare data in your analysis? Thank you. compare data. Use your compare data.
So we only analyzed DKI Jakarta. So it is only DKI Jakarta. What we compared was between the regions in DKI Jakarta. So that is what we compared.
Also, this was a serial cross-sectional study. Therefore, we examined the trend between years. We didn't compare with other region. For example, the approximate region of Banten, for example, because there is no death registry data in Banten. Jakarta is the only province who have death registry so far.
Okay, let me ask you before, like you present about the diagram in the diagram in 2020, the diagram is decreased. In the 2019, the 2000 increase, and another one in 2021 in increase, and 2022 is decrease. Is it equal to representative the conditions right now, and your data is can be using in these conditions right now?
Okay. Thank you. Regarding the rise and decrease, we conducted segmented regression in every turn of the data, and we found that there was no significant difference. So it could be something randomly happen. But we specifically divide between the two pre-COVID 2020 and post-COVID, the start of COVID-19 pandemic, after the 2020 pandemic, COVID-19, and we discover that difference. Therefore, we could say that the ups and downs before was not totally significant, and I don't think there is a major phenomenon could explain that difference. But during and after the COVID, the disease itself explain the difference and the hike.
Okay, thank you. I will continue asking. You say before that something random will happen. It will be the bias on your research, and or just it's something happen is random. Just it can be the bias, and or just your research just descriptive. And if it is just descriptive, how strong it's your research can be impact for the research from your research to applicable in the clinical.
Yeah, thank you. It is not a bias, it is a limitation. Because when we use the registry data, the variable contained in the registry might be limited. So we could then directly invert it with certain phenomenon during the period. So again, it's not bias, it is a limitation. And how we handle the limitation? We did not do direct inferential to certain phenomenon, or maybe for example the kepesertaan of BPJS or any other variables. No, we focus on the death registry, and we analyze the mortality trend based on commonly used metrics, just like group mortality rates and externalized mortality rates.
Okay, so without accidental for the COVID-19 disruptions in the healthcare access, so isn't your trend analysis potentially misleading or not?
Yeah, there is always limitation regarding methods we used. For example, we due to the incompleteness of the primary, secondary, and tertiary cause of death recorded in the data registry, we could not attributed the cause of death of stroke-related mortality or cerebrovascular-related mortality right to the COVID-19. But we know that from literature review during our background and discussion as well, COVID-19 related to the disease itself, increasing hypercoagulability and increasing the risk of stroke. And stroke itself could increase the risk of having more severe COVID-19. So the statistic, we don't do direct statistic inferential, but related to COVID-19 due to the limitation of the data. But we try to relate it to what happened at that year.
Okay, thank you. I want to ask, how did you address potential misclassification and underreporting in the death registration data in your analysis?
Yeah, thank you. We collaborate closely with DKI Jakarta province, and since 2016, every data registry issued from the DKI Jakarta should be inputted to the system. So this is a whole population study, whole population sample. Every death happen in Jakarta facilities, Jakarta healthcare facilities, recorded through the system. Every death certificate issued recorded through the system. So. But we understand your question, but it might be not really relevant to what happened in Jakarta at last 10 years due to the whole recorded data by the system.
Okay, let me ask again. So, did you perform the sensitivity of the analysis to validate your mortality trends, or just how about your research like that? Sensitivity or specificity?
Yes, so as we mentioned, we had limitations in our data. So we tried performing a lot of inferential statistics, as mentioned before, and sensitivity analysis before. And I think this can be also an improvement for the DKI Jakarta regional office as well to improve their death registry data so that future studies will be able to analyze more at depth. But we do believe that what we have now is something that can be the insights that can be used for policy implications, and it's still useful.
I think
1 minute. We also conducted a sensitive analysis using our data set during different periods, and it exhibits same conclusion with what we presented.
Oh yeah. Oh, sorry. It can work. Oh yeah. Yeah, good. Okay. So, thank you. I'm Gita and my co-author Stefan Wahyudi. We will bring the study here is underutilizations of supporting forensic examinations in sexual assault cases, implications for evidentiary completeness in medical legal documentations. So, from the introductions, the hidden problem in the sexual assault evidence is often occur without the witnesses, and then the evidence depend heavily on the medical legal findings. However, no visible injury does not mean no assaults, and the morphology alone is insufficient. And then, in Indonesia, we have a visum et repertum as a legal bridge, require an objective confirmation and scientific reliability. So without the supporting examination, evidence just become interpretative. And then the risk here is a weak legal certainty and reduced evidentiary strength. We use the study designs in retrospective quantitative. I think it's the false slide. We are using the study design is retrospective descriptive descriptive study, and the location in Central Java Hospital in the period 2024 until 2025, with a sample 28 sexual assault cases, focused on utilization of sperm detections and laboratory confirmations. And by the analytical approach, categorizing by two. First one is with the supporting examination, and we call them full examinations, and another one without the supporting examination, and we call physical examinations, and we analyze this by the proportional analysis identifications of biological evidence gaps. So this is I think it's really a false slide. And then in our results, there's table 2, and table 2 describe that there is 3 sample that get the sperm detected by the 5 victim that doing sperm examinations, and then from that data we will know that the other 23 sample just doing the physical examinations. So because of that, the forensics will be the forensic gap here is show that in the small samples like that we get the correspondential interference is in 95%, is a little bit quite wide, but it is show that
So you mentioned in your critical issue that there is already underutilization. So isn't it already well known? Then what is truly novel from your finding? Because your finding is also underutilization, right? And then you did it in one hospital. So how is that going to be generalizable? And have previous studies addressed this before? So what's truly novel about your study here?
Okay, thanks for your questions. Let me give you an answer first. That our study in just doing by one hospitals for the first, because we in the future we want to develop our sample, but in maybe in just a way it's generalized. Here we do not want to generalize everything because our issue is so far from your acceptable by our presentations. I think here we not focus on generalization, but here we focus on how the human rate will be equal. So to human rate will be equal, the victim must be doing the full examinations. So for doing the full examination with the to get the diagnosis of sexual assault. It's just can be do if the victim have the sperm detections. So we need to push every government or every environment to the victim get their right.
Okay, thank you. Very noble aim of the study, but noble aim should be supported by strong design as well. I don't think the answer the question is answered well. But I want to raise also question regarding study design. You only included 2 years, 2024 and 2025. But I believe in that hospital possibly there has been forensic service for years. For example, you can include also data from 2016. So the span will be 10 years, and there will be more samples, more reports to be included. I think.
Okay, thank for your questions. Why we are doing the data from the 24 until 25? Because by doing just 1 year, we just can find 28 samples, and from the 28 samples, it's representative 85% that the offenders cannot get punishment and the victims cannot get the rights. So this is I think this is represented the data. So why is not doing the old data like the 2015? Because I think why we use this one is small samples. Small range of year, because first ones it's just a simple we are just came by doing to get entry to the universities on that years.
So how could you say that 2 years could represent? It doesn't represent all the total cases. And another thing about your study design is that where did you get your data on legal? If you had a lot of qualitative interpretations, where did you put it in your methods? Because it's only quantitative in your methods. So I think that's a critical flaw, because where did you get your qualitative data?
Okay, thanks so much for your questions. So the first ones, let me explain our methods on how can we find data. So first ones, the data is came from the quantitative. It's too representative. Our analysis qualitative, just like that. The quantitative of 5 samples, we just can numbering. Just get the 5 samples that doing the full examinations, and just 3 get the sperm detection, and just 3 just have the rights to be sexual assault diagnosis, and like that. And after that, we analyze what happened. Just 3 just can get the sperm detection and sperm examination, and why just 5? And after that, the issue is show up here, and we doing the analysis by qualitative to know what is the gap here. So there is a government gap to the to the medicine practice, gap to the forensic practice, to the another yeah.
Yeah. So how do you actually verify that your qualitative data is going to be true? Because that's not. I don't think what you're doing right now is methodologically sound. And why didn't you analyze whether incomplete examinations actually affected the conviction rates or any other judicial outcomes? Why didn't you get access to that data as well?
Okay, I understand. So let me explain again first. So why? How can we qualify the sample to the qualitative data? So we have a consent. So in the refusal consents, there is number of why they do not doing the examinations, and from there we can analyze this about the qualitative. So I think it is quite strange to answer your questions. And then how about the procedure? Another is we are stand from the legal code of Indonesians human rights. We are stand from of law of 12 in 2022 about the sexual assault cases, how the government must provide, how the government must cover everything of the cost. And we are stand from the law from the 39 on 2023. That's like that.
We want to yeah.
Yeah, so why did you decide to group that as a qualitative data as well? And how did you optimize this insights for your specific policy or procedural changes? What did you propose?
Okay, so maybe come back back to our focus on the study. So our focus on the study is inequity of the burden on the pure victims, and the lack of the proper legal protections, and the estimated number of the sexual offenders that who are unpunished are the are of this issue. So that's why we are must be so the purpose of our study is to analyze by the stand from the quantitative data and continue with the qualitative data from all of the reasons why the victims refusals the examinations.
Kenapa?
So, end of the day, I think this is something to do with the criticality of your discussion. So often we would appreciate that the critical discussion comes from how you are able to dive into your opponent's materials. So I think in some of there are some really border, like both of you are very on the edge on all of that. So I think both of you have really great appreciation of your opponents, and there is something to be celebrated. Anyone else to add?
Although it's not necessarily pressure, but at least pick the word that's already mentioned, but what happened is so pick some idea. And then benchmark with other something that you want to push the government to something. This way, it's more like damage so many, how much just also I think the perspective because it's very clear what's the perspective in this kind of thing. So actually it's very important to I think that we probably have to make the university very strong national argument. It's not just something we talk about traffic rules, talk about right to think they make all these regulations and all that. But they need something that we do. Not just because it's not good, not good. It's not good. Right? So we know something. So then you have to kind of slowly what is this file? You see what I mean? So then you can look at other cases, other cities, other countries, like state law. Other countries zero. For the cardiac cerebrovascular, I was thinking that I think we need some vaccine.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people actually are activating with the vaccine, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, again, obviously, I will have yeah, because it could be unintentional, but you don't expect it. So I think I realize that it's slightly more to something, but more and find different symptoms or value and detect that signal online. And when you ask people the question, because actually you want to do policy maker will say, so what? 70%. What should I do? If I do something, can I actually expect a decrease? Or maybe it's just because the migration is just a 20% every year, maybe just migration actually go to the every single so if you think I don't worry about it. So I think again the key is achieving policy have to make the numbers down explode. Yeah, that's actually the key parts of how to define and maybe give some idea, but also give some idea. This then you would expect it will done. We can also estimate because this one how this will be done. Right? Don't just say, well, then you do more programs or more programs. How is programs that it's not much of a right? You don't get to be sure that whatever you do impact. Because we all on campus, every campus berdampak. Just think about that. Sorry, it's a bit.
Thank you. Makasih, makasih.
Okay, so for the executive, your next, your opponent is already waiting for you actually.